Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, gentlemen of the press. It's an honor being here, standing here, and representing the fundraising team. We had a campaign crowdfunding where Nigerians were asked to donate to the campaign of Obi Baba Ahmed campaign for the 2023 election. Today, we are having that campaign fundraising report presentation. Accountability and transparency is very critical and it's very important. And at any time that we ask people to donate and they do so willingly, it's very important for us to come back to them and show them how their monies were judiciously used. The mandate of the crowdfunding fundraising team was as follows. His Excellency Peter Obi gave the following mandates to the team, and that was to raise funding from Nigerians using the campaign's official accounts and ensure funds are judiciously used to support the presidential campaign of His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi. For this particular presentation that we are doing today, we are specifically concerned about the Obi Baba Ahmed campaign, for which there were four accounts that were used. These accounts are were accounts in Zenith Bank, Heritage Bank, Globus Bank, and also Sterling Bank. They were made public by His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, and citizens were asked to donate as generously as they wanted to. At this juncture, we must say we thank everyone that donated in cash, especially with the kind of mindset we have in this country where we don't think as citizens we are supposed to donate. But indeed, citizens came out and they put their monies where their votes are, and they were ready to use their money and not wait for, as usually we see in our climb, for the candidate to be the one bringing in that money. And for that, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. We go on to the activity and resource report. For donations from citizens, we received 595 million naira, 976,994 naira. This is the amount that were raised in these four bank accounts that we talked about. I know there have been reports out there that there were billions of naira that were raised, some even say hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, we hope we'll see those monies, and there are people out there that can help us track those monies. We would want to see them. But what we received specifically was this particular amount, let me repeat it once again, 595 million naira, 976,000 naira, 994 naira. We also received 800 million naira from the candidate himself. And I know some might wonder, how did we know that these monies were from the candidate? How were we able to differentiate them? These were monies that were put in by the candidate that were supposed to be used to pay for the polling agents. So we knew that they came in four tranches of 200 million naira each, and that was what gave the total of 800 million naira from the candidate. We designed a strategic blueprint focused on channeling the movement's energy to support His Excellency Peter Obi and Baba Ahmed's election in collaboration with different support groups. Remember, we had a lot of support groups and we worked together with them. We provided direct and indirect support to over 100 support groups across all 36 states in Nigeria. Also mobilized and supported over 100,000 grassroots organizers across the 36 states in Nigeria. We also deployed media-related campaigns that reach over 11 million people, leveraging over 40 radio stations, community outreaches, and social media. We would have loved to have used television and all of that, but because of our financial constraint, and we're very mindful of being judicious in our usage of the funds that we receive and being able to reach more people. So we limited what we had to just radio. So out of all of this thing, campaign materials worth 268 million naira, 374,330 naira were procured and distributed across the 36 states and also Abuja. Media and radio broadcasting cost was about 16 million naira, 422,867 naira. Election promotion expenses, we had 10,808,948 naira that we use for election promotion expenses. For polling unit agents, we spent 324 million naira, 381,700. And then we had bank charges, of course. The bank didn't warehouse the monies for us for free, and we had to pay 1,750,544 naira for bank charges. We also had administrative charges, which were 477,000 naira. We deployed 744 million 500,000 to cover legal expenses. And then campaign and election activities, we had another 28,500,000 naira. Let me just piggyback on the issue of legal fees. Remember what I said earlier, we had 800,000 that was brought in by the candidate himself. 800 million, thank you so much for that correction. We had 800 million that was given by the candidate himself. And so we are supposed to use that to pay. We had about 1.something billion earmarked to pay for the polling unit agents. 1 point, and so earmarked to pay for the polling unit agents. And then when we got to that towards the election, there were some materials, of course, that we couldn't produce. A good number of the materials were produced by most of the producers here. We have the team lead. He will take on that. We'll come to him very shortly. But I just need to give this background explanation. And so some monies came in when it's like a week to election. They have 2 weeks to election. So we couldn't produce any of those campaign materials. And we made the decision that we're going to put some of that monies from the public, put it towards payment of polling unit agencies. Is still part of the election expenses, and this is what our citizens had donated towards. So when we did all of that, we found out that the agents that we had, the amounts that we had to pay for them, we had such leftover, and so the candidate himself now asked on the way that this monies were paid for legal fee. So that's why you see the legal fee being high up there. So at this moment, I'm going to call on the team lead in terms of our procurement on how the steps that we took to ensure that every penny was judiciously used in a way that we're able to get the most material that we call at one time. So at this moment, I call on Mr. Senji.
Thank you very much, sir, Your Excellency, for this opportunity. And to Nigerians who entrusted us with your resources, I want to say thank you as well. Commander has given us a breakdown in regards to how we spent the resources that were entrusted to us. But what I want to basically portray is the philosophy that guided how we manage these resources. Because it was important that the resources that were given to us, we manage them judiciously and ensured that they delivered on the real reason why Nigerians gave us those resources. So the first thing we did was that we adopted a merit-based procurement process designed to ensure that we get value for money. So we put out a call for vendors within the movement, people who have invested a lot, use their resources to support the campaign without being paid was a major criteria. People who have put so much into the campaign and they were professionals in what they do. We asked them to send their bids, and we had a committee of people who observed several bids, and then we had a framework that we adopted to arrive at the vendors that we used in delivering some of these materials across different areas of the campaign. Then the next thing we did was that we adopted a skeptical approach to fund requests designed to ensure funds are used judiciously. So beyond just people giving us their codes and requests for funds and everything, we asked questions. We were critical. Figured out their business structure, how they were running, their capacity. We wanted to ensure that we leverage resources wisely. And I'm proud to say that, and the team is proud to say that, of the different vendors that we engaged on across different tasks delivered exceedingly well. They delivered based off of the resources that were given to them. Then we also adopted a framework to ensure disbursed funds were used judiciously. Very important. We want to ensure that when we give resources to vendors, people who work on the project, that they use these funds judiciously. We adopted that process. Then fund disbursements were made with approval from His Excellency and to other signatories to provide constant oversight. So whatever decision we took in terms of disbursing funds, we are made with the full acknowledgement of His Excellency and also signatories to the account. So no funds left the account without the approval of His Excellency, so as to provide constant oversight. Now, conflict of interest rules were established to ensure decisions on fund disbursement are made based on value and merit. It was very important to ensure that there were no conflict of interest. So you would find a situation whereby members of the procurement team, members of key decision makers, had no role in terms of, there were no conflict of interest. What do I mean by conflict of interest? It was a policy that monies would not flow into private accounts, but would flow into business accounts. And no member of the official team in any way had any access to whatever funds they were disbursed. It was very important to ensure there were no conflict of interest. So we made decisions based off of the merit as opposed to any conflict of interest. So that was a core philosophy powered by the virtues and values that His Excellency stands for. That the values he stood for influenced how we disbursed our assignment. Thank you very much.
Usman, thank you. I have to call this process, which I'm sure I'll follow up in due course in other areas, because we've come to the end of this exercise. It is now time to account to those who supported us, be able to brief them. We're also going to commence and thank you.